Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon.
He has more rhythm in one finger than you do in your entire body. He excels at all sports, except the best one, hockey. When asked how he'd feel if he hadn't eaten fried chicken that morning, he says that of course he did. His baby photos are mugshots. For him, Father's Day is the most confusing day of the year. In a dark room, you don't know he's there until he smiles. He assumes paying at stores is optional. He puts low batteries in other people's smoke alarms so they'll sound normal. He's an Olympic-level sprinter, but he can't swim. If he gets a phone call, he only takes it in public, on speaker. When he calls the cops, he ducks when he hears the sirens. He brings his own seasoning when he is invited to dinner at his white friend's house. He thinks per capita is a conspiracy against him personally. He objects to every mention of black stereotypes, except the one about black genitals. He's covered in bling, but he can't afford it. When he moves into a new neighborhood, even fellow blacks move out. He is the blackest man in the world.
I don't always drink, but when I do, I prefer grape soda. Stay oppressed, my friends.
That is right. Stay oppressed, my friend. Salute, salute, salute. This is Universal Jones back yet again. This time to have a friendly discourse, hopefully, about some of my comments and some of my internet friends. There's been lines drawn in the sand, and I've been playing Switzerland. So, when you play Switzerland, no matter what your opinion is, it's gonna fall on one end or the other. You can't fully stay out of everything. So it is what it is. For those of you who have no idea what I'm referencing, what I'm talking about, I am going to play my responses to a dynamic, not a phenomenon, dynamic that has been playing out in Black YouTube spaces over the last couple of weeks, which is this. There's been some splitting ups of people who used to be cool groups. People are kind of choosing sides. And in the midst of this frustration, anger, and this split is the question of what is content when it comes to Black creators, and this question of what is needed to kind of keep this this area, this community, whatever, this sector growing. And with these splits of what has happened, the main person who's been standing out has been Jay Prince for president. And JP has been on everyone's panel. And JP, when he's on panels, he dominates. He's a gravitational pull of content. He's unorthodox to a certain extent because of his lifestyle, and also his delivery. But he does make some sense. And he's captivating. He has the ability to captivate individuals. And so people draw themselves to him. I think he's an interesting individual. I'm getting more familiar with him of late. I've heard of him, I've seen him around, but more recently I've been paying more attention because I've seen just him suck the life out of a panel or a channel and breathe life right back into it, like in real time. He's an interesting individual. So and yes, I seen you in the back as I was getting ready, dealing with my children. That's why it took me forever. Feel free to hit that link again and come back up whenever you're ready. And yes, I have been paying Switzerland because I'm cool with everybody. I haven't really negatively said anything about anyone outside of Stanley. That's probably the only person I've said something to because he keeps bringing me up for whatever reason. And I don't have a problem with Stanley. I just think he's old and miserable and needs a home. Yeah, I didn't change any links. It's the same link. So for me, I try to not do this beef stuff online because I think it's silly often, but I'm not going to just back down from a conversation. So instead of doing it in a VC or whatever, I'd rather just do it on a stream. And let's just get it out there and let some other people weigh in on what's going on. You heard crickets because I was muted as I was dealing with my child. I don't think you want to hear me and a 4-year-old go back and forth about a tablet, French toast, and what are you doing on the laptop right now? Do my monologue. Oh my God. Salute to Sam. Salute to Quadratic Quad in the building. Salute to Brown Man. Salute to Garion. All right. So I'm going to play my thoughts on this whole JP thing. So I guess I should give more context. So ultimately, why I'm being questioned if I'm being Switzerland, and technically I am. I still have my points of views and my opinions. But John Galt, who's live right now, John Galt, the urban landlord, he has come through torching a lot of stuff in a lot of relationships. He's come through with a full fucking flamethrower and just saying, fuck it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. This is my thoughts. Here it is. He's gone after people. I mean, the list is long at this point. Nightish, Roz Girl, Here for the Tea, everybody on Bob's channel. Stanley, a lot of the people in the chats. Humble President, you can add him to the list as of yesterday. Yeah, there's been just a huge like divide, and a lot of it has been John and his approach to what's been going on. Now, for those of you that don't know, I rock with John. I talk to John all the time offline. I would say over the last year, John and myself have developed some sort of rapport, friendship. I have no issue with John. We've done business together offline. We talk about content. We look at this whole YouTube thing from a business angle, even though it's not always set up to be like that. And what I think John had in mind, probably about maybe 4 months into his channel, is that there is something there. So he was working with HB and Porsche and Get Crack, and they had that concept of the 24-hour kind of like that consistent radio model, and that shit fell apart. I see you in the back speak. I can bring up in a second. And it fell apart. It fell apart after a while. Crack slowly disappeared. Stanley came on board. Porsche got busy. HB disappeared. I'm just kind of hanging out in the back. I'm the new kid on the block, so I don't have that much say. So I'm just there. I hop on when I can. I hop off when I can. So, looking at YouTube as a business opportunity, which I think everybody should do, is important. One of the reasons why me and Lo developed the relationship we've developed is because I seen that as a business opportunity. I said, hey, this girl has a gravitational pull. Not the same as JP, but there's something about when she shows up, people give a damn, and you can do something with that. She didn't even believe it at first. It took a couple months for me pointing out to her. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Boom, then it hit her like, oh shit, Universal's right. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. She'll tell you. You can ask her. She's a woman. She speaks for herself. She'll tell you. There's certain people who just have it. It's charisma. You can say that charisma's not for everybody, but there's some people who just have this aura about them where they can draw people in. JP is one of those people. And if you're not paying attention to how he's moving, and I don't even think he's doing it intentionally. I think he's just being himself, hopping on panels whenever he wants. But he becomes the centerpiece to wherever he is, and that's important. So that has gotten mixed up with my views on race and racial dynamics. That has got mixed up with me and John's relationship. And, a lot of the people that I've been cool with, he's gone straight after. Let me just be completely honest about that. He's gone straight after him. Now, that's between them. I try to stay out of it. Look, I figure that shit out on your own. But if people stop rocking with me because I rock with John, I understand that. And I do understand that you will have guilt by association, which is also okay. I don't mind that either. So I'm going to play my clips, and then I'm going to bring Speak Up so he can respond in real time. I know he responded on Discord to these two clips that I'm going to play, but we'll get the live reaction as well. So here we go. This is the first audio that I put on Discord in response to my thoughts on JP.
Of a black person. He speaks about it true. You may not agree with it because it's not polished, delivery is not always the greatest, but it's raw passion. He is the lifeblood of YouTube. This is what John could not explain well. But if you pay attention, he's been on all these panels that we circle, and he dominates the panels because he has the best commentary and the gravitational pull for folks to listen to him, because he, believe it or not, he's speaking an unsobered truth. He's speaking a truth of Black life at its rawest form, and he lives it. And I think we need to really just watch him over the next couple of weeks, months, etc., because he's really highlighting just the purest form of niggerdom. He is Black people through and through. There's a little JP in all American Negroes, and that's why he is who he is. He's literally the lifeblood of Black YouTube. I made the comparison of him a couple of nights ago on John's channel, that JP could be like a Charleston White. And what he's doing right now on John's channel is proving my point. Because he's going on a long-ass monologue, and some of it's a little off, but for the most part, he's speaking some truth if you're listening to him and not seeing him as just some crazy welfare food. Just my opinion.
All right, so that's my first audio clip. I'm gonna play one more, and then we'll get speaking here. This is a response after some back and forth between Speak and a few other folks in our circle, and this was my response.
All right. So the racial context for this conversation is because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Black YouTube and how JP is needed right now for these sectors to continue. When he leaves, the numbers go down. When he's there, the numbers go up. You are right. People are more subjected to drama, but JP brings more than just the drama and the fuckery, and that's why he's significant right now, and he will be even more significant moving forward. The whole point is these quote-unquote content creators are not making content. They need JP to survive. That's the whole point. That's the whole thing that we're pointing out. And if JP is this downtrodden, welfare-dependent, bumblefuck, dumb Negro who only cares about his dick, what does that say about us and what we are attracted to? That is the whole point. And he may be all these things that we don't want to glorify or support, but at the end of the day, he still gets the glorification and support. What we're pointing out here is content and character. If you get stuck on just it's about race element, you're missing the whole point here. It's about race because he's Black and we're talking about Black folks on YouTube. But the bigger element is, as a Black person, JP is defying the odds in many of the things that is often talked about. We could talk about red pill. He's slicing right through that because he doesn't have all the shit that the red pill people talk about, but he's still able to get women. He's a parent. We don't know how his kids are going to turn up. That doesn't matter. But hell, he's at least with his children. He doesn't back down from anything. He can be poised and actually make points. He is he is a gravitational pull. That is the whole point of this whole thing. And again, I don't see how I'm off or how I'm weak, or I don't even see how me or John focusing on race has anything to do with the conversation outside of JP is just a Black man and we're pointing out Black content of character. But hell, I could be wrong. Who knows?
So there you have it. Imperious, respectfully, you're thinking like a white man. You're not thinking like a Black person right now. So it sounds insane from your sociological concept, but it's not. What's up, Speak? What say you?
What's good with you? I'm surprised you had to fire up a whole stream for this, but since you did let's go ahead and fucking do it.
Why not?
Yeah. So let me address a couple of things. I do see you change the show title because you said
you want me to change it back? I can change it back. I was just doing something a little bit more friendlier, but I can
because I think you were trying to say that I was calling you a coon, and I didn't ever call you a coon.
No, I know,
but so basically, what is the context of this whole thing? Like, because like I said, since you put it up on YouTube, what is the context? What are we looking for? You're saying JP is the content right now?
Yeah, my main point is there's a bigger point, but what I'm talking about specifically, we'll get to the bigger point towards the end, is my bigger point is this. Folks like JP, as dumb as people may think he is, or folks like him, he is carrying the panels that we all watch. From the CTs, hell, he was on John's yesterday. We can say John's. We could even say Gospel Bob. When he shows up, everything floats towards him, and he's important. He might not be the most articulate. He might not be moving anything forward, but what he's putting out, he's showing us what black folks want. They don't want the highly educated Negro who's sitting there talking lectures. They don't want that. What they want is the JPs of the world. But JP is also just being himself. He's showing people how to be themselves online and how it works, no matter how dysfunctional it is. And really, what got me kind of fired up to do more of a stream than a VC is the fact that yes. I don't know. I don't know. This is what I hear you. I read you all were talking about is he got paid to be on John's panel. And what I was saying was he should be paid. He's the fucking content right now. Everybody should be paying him. He should be getting broke off super chats. If he's going to be there and he's bringing all the numbers, he needs to get a cut. That's business. Besides JP, you can ask Lo. I've been telling her this for months. I said, don't go on CTs no more unless you're going to get paid. Because he's gonna put you right next to him. He's gonna ask you to cam up, and when you cam up, the super chats come. But don't if you ain't get no cut, don't do it. But that's not her style. You better use what you got to get what you want. At the end of the day, same thing with JP. He should be getting paid to be on all these people's panels. They should be breaking them off at least 10% of whatever is made from that stream, at least when he's on it. He is the content.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Like you said, you just saw JP recently, right? So yep. I've been seeing JP in these sectors since the Fight Club days. And you saying that he should get paid. Why should he get paid? He's the one seeking out these panels. He's not doing that because he has such interesting shit to say. He's doing that to bring subscribers over to his channel to build his channel up. Nobody on YouTube pays people to show up on their panels. I mean, unless they're like, okay, like Charleston White is big now. We can use him for example. He's big now, right? So of course, people like what's that? Say Cheese supposedly pay him like 10 G. Yeah, they pay him like I guess that's his asking fee to be on there. Yeah, because so many people want him. Yeah, but JP's not on that level yet.
He should be. That's my whole point. He might not get 10 G's, but they should break him off $100, something. Why not?
I mean, if that's what he sits down and sets up, I mean, but he's voluntarily coming to these panels. And look, I don't really think he's taking over panels and, you know, basically like just being what it is people want this fuckery content. And so they let him run off at the mouth and say all this outlandish shit because they want it for the views. They might not sit there and say that, but they want that fuck shit for these views. Yeah, let's just be honest about it. And it's kind of like people like Banter. These motherfuckers just say the most ignorant shit, and you know they just run off at the mouth, and you know eventually they do get kicked back. Like I see Banter get kicked off of panels because he won't shut the hell up. And so. I was reading something in the chat. Never mind.
That's all good.
But yeah, I mean, that's what JP is doing. He's going around fishing for subscribers through other people's shit. And I'm not knocking on JP because I don't watch him because I think he's, you know, this great nigga on YouTube. I watch him because I think he's funny.
He is funny. He's got a lot of charisma.
And a lot of times he be hitting on shit. Like if you just take out all the dumb, crazy shit that he says, sometimes he be hitting on some shit if you just really listen to him. So I take the good with the bad with JP. Because I'd say 90% of what he says is nonsense. But about that 10% that you just need to listen to, if you just wide through all the fuckery and the bullshit, he will be saying some profound shit sometimes.
Do you think he doesn't deserve compensation for what he brings to channels? Right here.
I mean, that's like saying, well, you brought Loa, for example. I mean, you think CT, if she comes up on CT's panel, he would actually, compensate her?
Yeah, if she went up consistently and cammed up, yes, I think he would.
Because I don't know, CT is known for compensating people to come on his panels, but that's just me. Now, if JP were to get, 20K subscribers, hell, who knows? Maybe he needs to start being compensated. But right now, where he's at, no.
Why can't I fucking take this down? Oh man, StreamYard's tripping. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, then fuck it. It's just gonna stay up till. I don't know if I can. I don't want to restart and then bounce out. All right. So you're saying no is the answer to your question because I didn't hear a yes or no. Or...
Yeah, I said no, but I mean, really, that's up to the content creator if they want to bring them up. But like, I mean, look, so we're saying like over on Bob's channel, he was dominating the conversations. Now, I mean, maybe the way you look at it, but I say he trying to take over, and Skywalker and Art just didn't kick him down. Like they would do with the banter, because Art can't stand banter, so he'll throw it banter in the back in a minute. But it's one of those people that just talk over everybody, kind of like Imperius does. He talks over everybody. He's got to be, it's all about him when they come on panels. Now, the other day, Bob and them had a guy called Kizumi on there, and that was one of their best streams. And this is a white guy.
Of course.
This was a white guy, like
Tell us more about the white guy, and then I got a follow-up question about what you just said.
I can't really tell you about the white guy because it's hard to explain. You would have to see like his channel, but this guy's got like 30,000 subs on his channel, and he just randomly popped up in Gospel of Bob's channel, and then he made a short about him being on there. It's pretty interesting. You should check it out because I mean it was a long ass stream. He was up there for hours. But they talked about a lot of things. It was a civil for the most part, but yeah, you got to check it out.
So that goes back to JP, right? So I've seen him have civil dialogue. I didn't watch the whole thing that he was on yesterday with John, but he was up there with Be Brave. It was pretty civil. He was
it was, but I did see it going awry because Be Brave kept pressing that issue. Oh, well, you're in your daughter's lives, and they're going to end up growing up to be good, civilized adults. And what are you going to do if they turn into butlers? And that's when the conversation started to go a little AWOL. But they reeled it back in. It didn't go off. But what I'm saying is I've seen JP in these sectors for a while. He doesn't play well with people, and that's not a knock against him. He's like Tommy Sotomayor. He doesn't play well with others. It'll last for a while, but JP rolls to the beat of his own damn drum. And I think John's setting himself up for failure trying to recruit JP, because at the end of the day, it's gonna turn to ash. It is what it is. And this is just my observation. I think John is using him for content because he doesn't have any content.
Say more. How does John not have any content?
Because it's the same fucking song every stream. I mean, how many times are we gonna have to hear about this fruity booty ass nigga that he wanted to kick out of his apartment? He got a picture of the nigga in his phone. Like, I mean, come on now. You showing these goddamn videos about your tenants exploiting the black tenants. Like, bro, come on now. It's the same fucking song for the past 2 weeks. Him beefing with Stanley. And, he said, oh, I'm over there with my daddy Stanley. No, I rock with Stanley, but I've even gotten into it with Stanley. And, I bowed out gracefully because I said, nah, I respect my elders. I'm not going to go in on Stanley over a misunderstanding. So I just bowed out.
So do you believe that Stanley has more content than John?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to say he has more, but what I am going to say, his content is different because, like Stanley has told y'all, he likes to, review political shit. And, I'm not really into the political stuff so much, but, I do watch a little bit of his, his history docs and stuff. And then, I ain't going to lie to you. I like when people come up there and cause drama because there's a lot of haters from John's channel that come to Stanley's channel and mess with him in the chat. Come on, Lionel. you know what happened on that stream. Don't even sit there. I will go off on an old person. Shit, they can get it just like anybody else. The fuck you mean? Shit, you be disrespectful. Shit, I can be disrespectful too. But it is what it is. I just feel like I give it a year. John's content will fade into obscurity.
I don't think so. I think honestly, I think a lot of folks are missing the point on John's content.
What? So, give me a little context of what point that we're actually missing.
The point is, John has the ability to. He doesn't even really need to respond to news clips or anything that goes viral. He literally can go outside, turn his phone on, and he's got crazy ass content from just Negroes who live in fucking Southeast DC. That what John's ultimatum is point out the content and character amongst blacks, and he doesn't articulate it that way. But if you pay attention, he's really just connecting dots so that people can understand and see this is where they're at. Now he's very brass. He uses all the language. He might not be the most articulate person when it comes to trying to help people learn and understand concepts, but he puts that on the viewer to do, which is one of the things that I peeped very early. So who's this black guy who's calling himself John Galt? Hold on one second. My bad. So again, pointing out these characteristics about how black people are. You connect that to what CT does or Ock does or whomever. That is what is happening in this sector, is just talking about these are the things that folks do. And yes, it doesn't feel good. Yes, it does ruffle feathers and it makes us go, it's not all black people, but it's enough of us that it's a huge problem and we need to do something about it. And if he chooses that's the only thing he talks about, then that's the only thing. The one thing that I don't agree with, and I'll say this publicly, is the high praise of Be Brave. But I do think that Be Brave has some significant talking points as well. But I just don't high praise anybody. That's just my thing. So when he does that, I know it triggers a lot of people because I've seen he'll bring up his name and it just sends people off into a tizzy because of how people feel about a white man who just talks directly. But I don't want to deter away from the conversation. Talk about Be Brave. I'm just bringing that in as like if I had one thing to point out as a flaw in John's delivery, it's bringing in Be Brave, because automatically what people go to is, oh, he's just being Steven from Django. And I think there's more there than just this white worship angle that a lot of people take from it.
Well, it's more than Steven from Django. I mean, it's Steven from Django, Clayton Bigsby, and fucking Uncle Ruckus all wrapped up in one. So it's a bunch of multiple layers that John's on. And my whole issue is, look, I can sit here and go off about the dysfunctions in the black community. I've done it before, so don't sit there and act like I don't see it, so it ain't happening. I see it. But one thing I'm not going to do is gallivate and gyrate for the fucking admiration of white people. I'm not going to do that. And so, I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't hate anybody on YouTube. I don't even know most of you folks in real life. So I can't hate somebody that I don't know. But what I don't like is the way John talks. The way John talks is somebody with mental issues. And it may be with something dealing from the past, some past traumas. And don't sit there and act like that's not the case. I mean, a nigga that sits there and smokes Primos all day and fucking drinks from fucking sun up to sundown and sit there and ranting about Negroes in his neighborhood in one sector of the country, there's an issue. And that's your main content. But he wants to sit there and say Stanley destroyed his channel. Stanley didn't destroy that channel. I know we're kind of going off on JP. We'll swing back to that. But I'm saying Stanley didn't destroy his channel. Yes, him and Stanley beefed all the time, and Stanley would come in on his streams and talk shit to him. But, bro, Get Crack left. We know where Get Crack hangs out. We know the sectors where Get Crack hangs out. Get Crack ain't gone nowhere, but he just ain't over there no more. HB, you know, he done went off and done his own thing. And Portia, who knows what she's got going on, but she's not there anymore. So Stanley was the only consistent person on his channel. The only consistent person on his channel. Now, we know he probably wasn't getting the views because he wasn't on that, you know, that buffoonery that people want to see, except for the numbers would pop up when he was arguing with people and shit. But to say that Stanley was trying to sabotage his channel, that's a complete bunch of bullshit. His channel fell off because of his doing. Like when y'all had that morning roast, I literally thought y'all was going to come on every morning and just have some cool conversations about whatever. But it turned into nigga shit, nigga shit. That's what y'all went into every goddamn morning. And I was like, what the fuck, man? I thought y'all was going to have some, like, you know, some, you know, eye-rising content. But it went into this, oh, we got to bash Negroes every morning. Like, bruh. He's pigeonholed himself into a certain sector of YouTube. And I heard him say on Bob's show, he's like, I'm trying to figure out how to break through this YouTube algorithm. Bro, let me tell you, this hating on nigga shit only goes so far. And like when I came at him, yeah, y'all wanted me to go respond to him. Y'all, oh, you need to go respond to him. The nigga never addressed why I initially came at him. He never addressed. I said, why are you crashing out over Be Brave? What Bob said about Be Brave. That's all I said to him. He going off on all this other shit. Let me show you this nigga. Let me show you this nigga. That has nothing to do with what I fucking came at you in the first place. Address what I fucking came at you for initially. And Be Brave is a non-factor because if you sit there and listen to Be Brave, he can't get his numbers correct. Oh, it's a 70, it's the 30, it's the 30, it's the 70. Be Brave is fucking crying about shit that doesn't affect him. Where Be Brave live, I heard him say something one time on his stream, I can't even get on the bus because of these fucking blacks. Bro, ain't no blacks on riding the bus where you live, you lying motherfucker. But he's a non-factor. Like y'all worrying and crying about shit that don't even affect y'all. Now maybe it affects John because that's where he lives, maybe. But they crying about shit. Let's talk about some real shit. What's going on in Baltimore, going on in Chicago? That doesn't affect y'all. Let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck.
When you say y'all, you're throwing me in there?
Whoever.
All right, so I know if I'm responding. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can respond to it. I mean, if you think it does, I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and respond. What I always say, if it don't apply, let it fly.
Gotcha. Hold on 1 second. All right. So to me, it does affect me. I don't live in the hood no more. I don't. I actually strategically move myself in an area, in a suburb where not a lot of niggas is at, to be honest with you. Because I spent most of my career working with the mental health of black folks. Spent most of my life, more than half my life, I've lived in the hood. I'm a product of WIC, food stamps, and Section 8, rats, roaches, and all that shit. Been most of my life. And at this point in stage and where I've been, and I've been honest, and most of my viewers here, they know that there's been a shift in just my approach towards content. I've been extremely pro-black. I mean, I don't take no content down. You can go back in the archives and see some of the stuff that I've put out. But a shift, I took a turn a couple of years ago. There are black people where I'm at, but it ain't a lot of them. And and to be honest with you, I'm not even including the Africans. There's more Africans out here than anything, but and Indians.
Real quick, you think it's more Africans than just American blacks in Minnesota now?
Not yet, but probably in 5 to 10 years, yes. If this Somali mayor wins, absolutely, that's definitely gonna happen. Definitely. I will say that Africans in Minnesota have more social capital and power than Black Americans 100% right now. 100% in Minnesota. 100%. And they were able to do that within 25 years. So
Well, I mean, you said they have a Somali mayor right now, right?
no, he's in good position to win the managerial race right now.
So that's the same aspect as what New York getting that Arab mayor.
Yeah, they're both
gonna go downhill if that happens.
Yep, they're both socialists as well. Omar Faith, or Faith. I don't know how he pronounces his last name, but I'll show you what it looks like. This guy is most likely. Well, here's the thing: he has been endorsed by the DFL, but he got caught cheating. So I don't know if they're gonna still let him ride or not. But if he runs, there's never gonna be a Republican mayor in Minneapolis. It's gonna be a long time before that happens. But if he runs, pretty much the current Mayor Fry, he's done. He's shot himself in the foot so many times since George Floyd that there's no way he's going to win again. And after this last controversy, what he said about prayer, he has just pretty much eliminated himself from the race. So this is your front runner right here.
And you know what's sad about this universal is American blacks are going to vote for this because they see a quote unquote black face.
Yeah.
But he doesn't speak for them. And
No.
And this is what, you know, when they put this FBA versus tether conversation. And I'm not an FBA. I'm just, you know, Black American, that, you know, if you even want to call us that. But I see why these people are saying FBAs want to delineate from other quote unquote melanated people, because they don't have the same experiences that we have. They come over here thinking that they're better than us. And this guy is not going to do any favors for quote unquote Black Americans if he gets into power. He's only going to push shit to make his people great.
But what if they function better than us? Like, they can think it, but what if their actions are showing that they are better? Then
Are they showing that?
In some instances, yes. Look at academics. Look at work. Look at income.
Could that be just from them bringing in a certain demographic at a certain point? Now, I mean, okay, so let's put it this way. So when you talk about waves of immigration, right? Typically, the first wave, they bring in your people that are studying to be doctors, lawyers, etc., etc. The good people. But after that, you ain't bringing nothing but a bunch of scumbags in. And I don't know what the crime stats are in Minnesota right now, but I would probably like to say that it's a lot of Somalians doing crimes right now, right?
Not more than Black Americans, no. They're probably maybe second, maybe close to tie with Native Americans.
Because I will say this, you know, a lot of these tether crimes get lumped in as Black crimes.
That's not happening here. No.
You sure?
No. Yeah,
I know, like in Florida, for instance, you got Haitians and Jamaicans doing a lot of the crime, and they just get lumped in as the Black demographic.
And that's not Minneapolis. That's not the Minneapolis problem. Minneapolis does have issues with our East Africans who, quote unquote, adopt the negative elements of Black culture. But most of the shit is Black Americans, and I know that for a fact. I used to work for, you can Google it. There's a program called Group Violence Intervention. I used to be the director of the Human Services portion of that group. I'm not hard to find. I know all the stats. I know the police chiefs. I know the previous one and the current one. I know both mayors. I've been doing this work for a long time. It ain't the Somalis. I mean, they part of it. Like, they got a small slice. It's mostly American Blacks, but that's every city though, and that's one of the points. So we can tie all this stuff together. That's the whole point. It's not all Black people that do these things, but it's a significant amount of us that it is problematic, and that's why I care, because I'm Black. At the end of the day, I don't want Black people out here like this. I don't want the number one killer of Black boys to be homicide. It should be.
You think I want that for our people?
No, I hope not. That's why. But I'm not just talking towards you though. I'm just saying in general, to answer your question earlier, That's why I care. I have black children. That's why I care. You know, to a certain extent, you can say I'm a role model and a fucking mentor. Like I've helped so many black people who are trying to do something different and better and defy the odds of this nonsense. That's why I show up and care. But at the same time, I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it and act like black people ain't doing shit that we shouldn't be doing. We got some major issues. One of them is parenting, education, and violence. Those are the three big things I think that we need to focus on as a community. But we can't. We don't want to. There's no desire for most people. The desire is to live a life like a fucking JP. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. He's like, fuck it. If this is what they're gonna give me, I'm gonna take it. And from a psychological standpoint, I get that. He's taking the path of less resistance.
But you know what? Universal? I don't see that as just a black problem. Like right now, here and today, I see that as what's the current generation that we're in that are turning into adults?
Millennials and Gen Zs are turning into adults now.
Okay, so I see a lot of them not wanting to work hard for anything like say the generations before them. I don't see that as a black problem only. I see a lot, like if I drive around my city right now, I see a lot of homeless white guys, young men at that, and I'm sitting here saying to myself, what is the reason why these motherfuckers that look able-bodied are not working? They'd rather stand on a street corner and fucking panhandle all day. And I've heard from a lot of millennials and Gen Zers. They're like, fuck corporations. We're not going to fucking slave and grind away our lives, for this, But a lot of it is just laziness. They've been given so much that they think everything should just be handed to them on a silver platter.
So why don't you think black people have the majority of black people have the same issue? If I'm giving you welfare and I'm passing your kids without maximum effort, you can't fucking read, you can get a decent job, by just showing up. Like, why don't you think that black people are lazy as well?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that there ain't black lazy people, but there are a lot of black people out here doing it. And I think that's what y'all fail to miss. I don't ever see when y'all have these conversations about black people doing shit, y'all don't never fucking big up the shit going on. Like, with black people that are positive, it's always the negative shit. And like, I want to roll back on something Distant Light says. He said that something in reference to, let me go up to the comment. Well, he said something about
this one.
No. He was saying something about the inner city neighborhoods are more dangerous than like the poor white communities. And I said that has to do with a lot of proximity. Like if you look at the difference between a poor white community and a poor black community, the biggest difference is the proximity of people and closeness to each other. That's the biggest issue. When you got a lot of broke motherfuckers living on top of each other, shit's gonna happen. Shit's gonna pop off.
But see, so I can come back to you, Lionel. I mean, not Lionel. I'm reading Lionel's comment. And I can say, but we have other ethnic groups who also live on top of each other. They don't have the same problem.
Like who?
The Vietnamese. You can look at certain Asian groups. We can go back to the Africans, but let's just stick with another ethnic group. Why don't they have the same problems? But for example, we know when it gets hot outside, every major city has an issue with gun violence amongst young people. And the response is always, these kids need something to do. And my thought has always been, well, fuck, if our kids ain't got nothing to do, why do they get violent and want to hurt each other? Like, what is that about? Are you telling me these other kids?
You know what that's from? That's from a lot of these boys being raised up by single mothers who don't know how to handle shit with logic. They only know how to handle shit with fucking emotions. Because they've been raised up by their mother. So all that emotional bullshit that they seen from their mother, it's on them now. So let's say somebody bumps into them walking on the street. Instead of being like, hey, man, it's good, blah, 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 keep on moving by the business, it turns into drama. It turns into somebody possibly getting shot.
So you're saying that black women want chaos and they raise their children to harm each other?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Well, what are you getting at with the single mom?
I'm saying the single mom thing is a lot of boys raised by single moms are freaking emotional.
All right. Okay. So we have
let's look at what. Let me give you this example, right?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so let's say there's a boy who's raised up by a single mom, and he sees his mom bringing all types of different men into the house, treating her like dog shit. What is that going to breed in that boy?
Yeah,
he's going to hate people that look like him.
Sure.
So as he grows into an adult, what is he going to do? He's going to have an animosity towards the people who look like him, and it's going to be a problem when he gets to an adult. And I'm not saying I'm not using that as a crutch for us. I'm just saying that's a lot of the problem because the family dynamic was broken down. And I want to rightly blame that on feminism and fucking welfare.
All right. Well, I think there's definitely a piece there. I'm not gonna put it all on that because it still begs the question: why are our kids so angry? Like, yes, they may be emotionally extreme. They might not know how to deal with things. They may be effeminized. But why do they get violent? Why? And I'm not asking to answer that. I'm just throwing that out there as something that we should be asking. It's like, what is the violence about at that age?
I mean, I don't know how to put it any black or white than, like I said, being up. Like you said, we know that a lot of black children are raised up by their mothers. And that's the thing about a father being in the life. The father is supposed to teach a man how to handle himself, in certain situations. And when there's no man there, he doesn't know how to have discernment in certain situations, especially when it comes to dealing with aggression. All men are aggressive in nature. But it seems like when you're raised up by your mom and you don't have that man there to tell you, look, like, let's say, for instance, I'm going to use myself, for example, right? When I'm the oldest child of my family, right? But at a certain point, my mom and my dad were no longer together. So it was left up to her to raise my sisters and my little baby brother, right?
Okay.
So at a certain point, all kids challenge their parents. So, okay, we look at the situation, my sisters get to puberty age and they start challenging my mom. So my mom and my sisters get into these altercations, and me being the older male figure there, I had to be the one to come in and fucking put shit and logic. It's like, what are y'all arguing about? Like this is stupid. Like, hey, y'all need to cut this bullshit out. If I wouldn't have been there, shit could have went awry. And that's all I'm saying. That's what the male is supposed to be there in that family dynamic. Because I told one of my good friends, she's a single mom with a son, and she just recently done this. Her son turned 12. She sent him to his dad. She didn't want to, but he was getting to where she couldn't control him. And I was like, look, you're gonna have to give him to his dad. His dad wants him, let him take him. Because what he's gonna turn out to be, if you keep him, you're not gonna like.
Okay. Any questions for me? I feel like I've been asking you a lot of questions. Anything you got for me?
Not really. So I did want to touch base with you on the thing where you said you moved into a certain type of neighborhood. And yeah. I don't really think that's black and white. Like, we like to put race on shit, and I hate that we do this as Americans. This is why we'll never achieve the greatness that we should, because we look at everything through the lens of race. And technically, there's only one race. It's the human race. All this other black, white, this is a bunch of bullshit. But anyways, people tend to move where their money takes them. It just so happens to be that there might be more whiteys in the neighborhood that you live in. I don't think you ain't gonna be making $1 million a year and living in the fucking hood. That's stupid. So when people say this, oh, I don't want to live around blacks because they're violent. You don't want to live in any low class area if you got the money to do so.
Well, even if you don't have the money to do so, you still don't want to live around black folks. Like I'm trying to, again, this is one of the points I wish John made better, because he can really point out as a landlord. He literally has offered people to live in spaces and they leave. They say no because the black people that live there. I've seen it. It's crazy. But again, but we talked about me. You brought me up. So for myself, I've lived in the cities or whatever my whole life. And that shit is stressful. And I remember when me and my ex-wife when we moved into the suburbs, it was originally it was to move closer to her parents because she grew up in the suburbs. She's a black woman who grew up in the suburbs. Her dad was in the military. She was a military brat. So they lived in one of the more affluent suburbs here in the Twin Cities. And she said that when we had our child, she wanted to be closer to her parents. So that's what we did. And I remember my first night in the suburbs. It was so quiet. I had anxiety. I couldn't even sleep. I was fucking shocked because it was like no sirens, no noise. I hear no footsteps, nothing. It was just pitch black silence. It was fucking weird. But what I learned from that experience is my body has adjusted to chaotic ass environments, like living in the cities. And since then, I have, my body has readjusted to being out here. I probably don't know how I would actually, I don't know how I actually would deal with being out here, living in an urban environment where there's a bunch of crazy shit going on. Now, I still work in those environments, so I'm there on a pretty consistent basis, but I'm in and out. And the shit's chaotic. Right now, another example, this is when black people show up, shit changes. Right now at our state, we're having the Great Minnesota Get-Together, the State Fair. No, I don't even know what the number is. It might be like 60,000 people come to this thing. It's a lot of people in and out. But by the time about 6 o'clock rolls around, that's when all the young black people start showing up. There is a common knowledge that if you want to go to the fair and you don't want to get involved in any drama, you need to leave by 5 o'clock because the niggers are showing up after that. And guess what they've been doing? Speak every night. They've been fighting. Guess what happened 2 years ago? They almost didn't even have the fair because they were shooting at the goddamn state fair, man.
Bro, you telling me like I don't know? We have the Texas State Fair here, which is one of the biggest.
It's the biggest. That's the biggest one, yes.
But the thing is it's really blacks and Mexicans out there fucking shit up at nighttime. Like literally when the sun goes down, you need to be gone. It's already hot and humid in the motherfucker out there. So you don't want to be there at nighttime because shit's gonna go down.
Yeah, so blacks are creating their own sundown times. Niggas is leaving before the sun goes down. This is what I'm trying to tell people. I know it doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good saying this shit. It really doesn't. I don't like being called a coon. I joke about it because I think it's fucking hilarious. Because at the end of the day, my life is like really black. Outside, I just don't live around black people. But like, you cannot deny the crazy shit that happens amongst black people. And when we try to compare other groups, man, you can poke holes in that argument at any point. You can't. I'm telling you, man. Just look at our kids. We don't even have to look at the adults. Just look at our kids, man. Our kids are struggling so bad, academically, socially. Like that is a telltale sign that your community is fucked. When your kids can't read, when they get bored, they want to kill each other. What the fuck? We need to figure this shit out. And I'm not even saying it's about being rich. I'm not rich. I
didn't say you were rich. I'm just saying your money takes you where you want to go. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with you didn't have get this money and be like, oh, I'm gonna go live around Whitey's. No, you saw this house that you could afford, and that's where you moved.
I mean, I could afford a house in the cities, and in some parts of the city, the houses are more expensive than my house.
Well, yeah, if you live like centered around the downtown area, which they build up. See, a cop told me this a long time ago when I worked at a convenience store. He used to come in all the time late at night, check on me, see how things were going. And he told me because the neighborhood that the convenience store that I worked in was, when I moved out there, was a nice neighborhood. It was a mixed community, right? And I started to notice things is changing. This leads into me getting robbed at the convenience store one night, right? So anyway,
what races robbed you, real quick?
He was a black man from Louisiana. He came up here during the big influx of people from Hurricane Katrina.
Gotcha.
Had the same name as me and everything, which tripped me the fuck out. But anyways, he told me this basically, like he broke it down like this. He's like, so you give any community or city about 30 years. It starts out like every city starts out with a booming downtown area, right? And so over time, people, they all want to live where everything's going on, which will be centered the downtown area, right? But as more and more people start matriculating in, shit starts getting fucked up. Buildings go down, crime picks up. So what happens is you have white people with the means to move, they start moving further out, right? And so now then a couple of years later, you have, and this is all, he said it's a 30-year period, right, that this happens. And he says then black people who have money, like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here too. And they move out. Now what happens is the people that are left, you know, they run that shit down. And so there's still shit going on. Now the downtown is still popping, but it's not like it used to be. So what happens is basically the real estate gets cheap. Yeah. And these white people don't want to drive 45 minutes to an hour to come do shit there. So what happens is they start gentrifying everything and they come back and kick these people out. So basically with the long story short is he was saying it takes 30 years to make a neighborhood go down. And he was, because, you know, I told him, man, because I'm working overnight at this convenience store, right? And I'm seeing at 3 o'clock in the morning, motherfuckers just walking around, just hanging out. And I'm like, this shit didn't used to be like this when I first moved out here. It was quiet. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, well, this neighborhood is at the 30-year mark. Now,
it's true.
I moved from that area, right? And I've gone back over there. And, you know, prior to that, there was a bunch of like people doing kick doors and shit like that in this neighborhood. Don't get it twisted. This neighborhood still has nice homes and everything. But there was a lot of bad apples in that neighborhood. Now what has happened is people have come back, like I'll say Mexicans, for instance, they've come back in, start buying up the homes for cheap because the real estate got cheap because of the ghetto motherfuckers over there, right? Yeah. And then they basically are pushing these folks out because they can't afford this area no more. So it's like a revolving cycle.
Yeah, the same thing happened during red lighting, even though we like to take the victim position on there. One of the things that screwed the inner cities up was when the freeway system was built and redlining happened. Black folks who were middle class, I'll just say it that way, middle class blacks had opportunities to leave the urban communities, and they did. And that took a huge social capital out of the hood. Back in those times, you would have the dentist, the doctor, the fucking accountant, the dude who ran the insurance agent. He lived next door to the mechanic, to the motherfucker who didn't have much. Their kids played together. It was more of a community. And when those freeways were built, it gave those blacks an opportunity to get the fuck away from those Negroes. And they left. And what that did was that changed the outlook of the inner city. Guess what? That happened in the 60s and a little bit into the 70s. 30 years later, guess what else started to happen? We started to get what's called second ring suburbs started to be built. So late 1990s, early 2000s. That's the 30-year mark from what you were talking about. And then you see more what happened during that time. More black people started to go to school, especially black women. That's how they got their house and their car and a good job. And they became the most educated. They took their ass out to the suburbs and got townhouses. And guess what? Guess where we're at now, Speak? The 30-year mark again, and it's happening. And this time around, the crime is so fucking bad that they're just gonna price you out. So if you can't afford to live close to downtown, you won't. They're just gonna price blacks out, and that's what's happening right now. I've been down. I was down in your area a year ago, down in the Dallas Fort Worth area, DFW. Yep. Sit down. And I was in Houston last year as well. I've been to a couple places, Charlotte, and every city I went to have the same thing going on. A lot of apartment buildings being built up, and they're calling them luxury apartments, even though they ain't luxury, just a piece of shit apartments. But they're just pricing folks out all over, and they're just gonna move black people out by the numbers, man. That's what's gonna happen. Gentrification is happening, and we can't complain about it. We got to figure out a way to navigate it to the best of our ability.
Well, you know my area quite well. I mean, have you been to Waco recently?
Not recently. No, I haven't, but I'm familiar with Waco, Texas.
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was a dump. Then Chip and Joanna Gaines happened. And like when you first drive into Waco back 10 years ago, it used to be a shit show. Now you drive in, what's the first thing you see when you hit Waco? You see that big ass stadium for Baylor. all them houses that used to be in the hood that were dilapidated and torn up. Chip and Joanna Gaines got a hold of them. Like, these areas used to be run down. Now they got nice, decent white folk walking around, drinking coffee in Starbucks, and they've moved out a lot of the black folks that used to live in these areas, and a lot of the bums and hobos that used to stay there. Like, Waco has did a full 180 from what it was 10, 15 years ago. Because, I mean, you couldn't stop at a gas station without a bunch of bums hanging out around there begging you for money. Same thing what happened with Deep Ellum in Dallas. That shit was run down for a minute. Clubs were closing because, you know, you couldn't park there without a homeless person hitting you up for money. And then when you told them no, they damn near shank your ass.
Yeah.
But now it's having a resurgence. They didn't got all that bullshit out of there. And, you know, the clubs have come back. The bars have come back. So it's having, like you said, gentrification. They, you know, moved out the criminal element, the bums and all that shit. And it's having a resurgence right now as we speak.
And this is where the coon comes out of me. So, you know, you're summoning my coon energy. Kundalini energy is coming.
Bring it out.
The raccoon platoon. I don't think that there's a problem with gentrification. I think that as black folks, if we want to maintain our communities, we need to be able to own the shit in the communities. Otherwise, somebody else is going to come in and take a slice of the pie or rebuild it. Because one thing that we don't talk about is how other groups come in and they start to just pry on our dysfunction and our lack of ability of ownership. That to me is worse than gentrification, because that means I can control you as long as I need to, and you're gonna pay me whatever I want.
Well, it's like this. So my dad's mom, the neighborhood she lived in is called Como. I don't know if you're familiar with it in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yep.
Now, Como was a predominantly black neighborhood.
I'll be back when I'm listening.
Yeah. It was basically a predominantly black neighborhood with a bunch of older black people. And, you know, a lot of those people have started dying off. Now, Como has a lake there. Not the cleanest, but, you know, the black folks ain't done their due diligence on taking care of that lake. But there's always a 4th of July party that started at the beginning of Como and ended at that lake. And shit would always go down at that lake. What I'm bringing up is, so, for instance, like, my grandmother's house, my dad and his sister didn't want to have anything to do with it, didn't want to do the upkeep, didn't want to keep the house in the family, so they sold it. A white man comes along and buys the property for like little or nothing. And this is what's happening with that whole neighborhood. It's being gentrified as we speak. And the white folks that are, you know, around that neighborhood have been wanting that lake for years, and they're going to get it because black folks don't care to own shit. Lionel, what's up?
What's up, man?
Oh, you know, just up here having conversation.
I know, and I'm listening to y'all, and it just kind of reminds me of my own experience, and just, again, up and down the East Coast, around black people, and everyone saying, take your talents and go work for somebody. Go work for somebody. Hey, go work for Marvel. Hey, go work for DC. You know? But it was only the white people saying, why don't you build your own situation? Literally, it was only the white people saying that. Why don't you build your own? But the black people were all saying, go work for somebody else. And the older I got, the more that started to stink. Then it got to the point where I moved into better parts. And what did I do? I tried to bring the black people with me. And then I kept trying to rotate. I'm not going to be like John. I'm not. But I do see what he's talking about, because I have a similar situation, just not as many people, but I rotate quite a lot. And it's like, niggas can't pay their rent. Niggas want to be lazy. Niggas want an extension. It's the white people, though. Here's your rent on time.
Is that always the case, though?
99%, yes.
Maybe I mean y'all should have better discernment on who you move in.
Oh, there's no way you can't do that though, because these people come in and they be like they have a job. You check it; they've been having their job for a minute. You look at their history. It seems okay. Next thing you know, 2 months in, something happens. Now all of a sudden they don't got a job. Now all of a sudden they struggling. And I'm like, God damn, another one? It's like at work. It's the same thing at work. There's the mainly the black people. I'm rotating out. I can't remember the last time I had an issue with a white person. But it's the black people who get lazy. They're overworked. They're exhausted. They come in high. And I'm not in the hood. That's the thing. I'm not in the hood. I'm not in the ghetto at all. I'm in a very high priced area. But the niggas are the same.
But you know what? They're having to come there for work because there ain't no work where they at.
Well, they don't work. Trust me, they don't work like it. They definitely don't act like it.
Well, I know. I mean, I'm not saying that changes how they're going to work when they actually get the job. I'm just saying where they come from, ain't nowhere to work over there. So they got to come to these quote unquote white neighborhoods, if you want to put it that way, to find a job, to find work.
Like my demographic, the place I work, the demographic is 82% white people, 11% black, and then of course it's everyone else. And the dudes that actually come here to work that you generally are going to see overnight are dominantly black. But these are the ones who got the worst issues. And they be creating constant excuses. And it's like, you have to highlight certain things, because I'm sitting here like, so why is it that this white guy right here, he got a bad leg, literally in chronic pain. He got to worry about his daughter, who's having her 7th open heart surgery at 13. The dude works 2 other jobs, and yet he comes in here and he's just blitzing this area. I want to give him a raise just because. But you trying to tell me that this 60-year-old can out-spec you 20 and 30-year-old black niggas? Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Now I want to fire the whole damn staff just because the 60-year-old white man making y'all look this bad. But then they're the ones saying they overwork. How in 4 hours can he outspec everything that they can do in 8? But then that's not the only one. Because now I can just start pointing to all the different white people or the Mexicans that does the same thing. But it's the black people that give me the poorest results. And so my first instinct is, you're out of a job.
That's racist.
Damn.
Nah, Lionel's just a mean boss.
I'm just saying though, but I'm being real though.
Well, I will say this, that 60-year-old white man comes from a different time where people valued hard work. And I don't know the age range of these black folks you're hiring, but I would say it's safe to say that a lot of the young people, regardless of color that you're hiring, if they're younger, they're lazy as fuck. Let's keep it a buck.
I can't say that because I got some young white girls also who are very work driven.
Oh, no.
I got white girls who are in their early 20s and they are work driven. Very hard.
I ain't never seen no young white girls that like to work hard. I'm sorry. Well, I ain't never seen it.
In my area, they are though, and they're consistent with it. I'll admit that the white boys come off lazy, but luckily I don't really got to work with them. But they are lazy. But the lot of white girls, they be killing it. I got to give them props. They be out working the black women. And in my area.
Oh, you're talking about your area?
But then what is this? This is Georgia. I can go back to South Carolina, where I was at. And the place I was working, it was the same situation though. The white girls were out working the black ones.
That's exactly what goes on in Black America every day.
You found a good time to drop that in, huh?
Oh, I've been waiting.
I'm just saying, when I'm in my experience, like I said, so it's the white people that saying, Lionel, build your own. It's the black people saying, Lionel, take your talents and go work for somebody. I see the white people really pushing that narrative, you know, and again, this is up and down the East Coast in different states. Now, maybe I was unlucky enough just to find all the poor and bad neighborhoods, but Universal brought up education earlier. And when I look at education as being someone who was in the system also, I've seen some of the best teachers in the worst areas. They ain't had no business being in these areas, but they was there doing the job. And I bring up how Frederick Douglass High School had a whole documentary on HBO. And what was whole hilarious about this was I was in the graduating, I wasn't actually at the school, but I was in the graduating class because I was there in the 9th grade. But I saw a lot of the stuff they were talking about, because my very first experience going there was going to the guidance counselor and her yelling at a black kid because he was dropping out. And over 500 students had already dropped out that year. And I'm just thinking, holy shit. But our whole school was packed. But the majority of the school had already failed the previous year. But when you experience the teachers, you know it wasn't the teacher's fault. They were too good for me to sit there and just blame them. It was the parents. The parents and their kids. And you got a dominantly black school, but yet, how is that you got a school that's over 1,000, and in the graduating class of that year, only 49 pass, only 49 graduate? That's more than just a baby mama situation or a single mother situation. Then you got another bad school, what was it, Cochran, I think, right down the street. Wasn't no better. I watch the system and watch these black kids, or watch the parents around them, be bred to fail, being groomed to fail and accept failing. And just be like, hey, life goes on. But yet you move into different areas and you see the same thing. I can't blame white people for that.
And I mean, for me personally, I mean, maybe because my upbringing is different. So, I mean, maybe it's because I've been shielded from this, being a military brat. Like, I've been so many places and seen different people and different things. Like what y'all claim to see, I don't see. I don't walk out my front door every day and see this. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's because being born as a military brat, I didn't see this shit. Now, when I would go hang out with some cousins of mine, I'd be like, God damn, what the fuck is going on here? But, you know, per se, like, bruh, I've been around. I have seen many different cultures and people. So just what y'all have seen over your lifetime, I mean, I guess I don't have that experience.
And that's good that you have a more positive experience, you know? But I see more JPs than I see Universals.
Yeah, well, you know, when I was younger, I did live in the DMV area, but I did stay on a military base. But even when we went off base per se, that's what the military people say when they go do something off base. You know, we go off base, you know, go eat somewhere. All I saw was positive black role models, black people who had money, a lot of black folks that, you know, worked for the government or had civil service jobs, you know, that were making good money at that time. So it might be different now, but at that point in time, in the mid 80s, late 80s, that's all I saw was black excellence up that way. Hadn't been up that way in years, but at that point in time when I lived up there, that's all I saw.
You know, downtown Atlanta makes a lot of money, and Atlanta is, has a ton of black people. We know it. A lot of black women love to highlight their black businesses and whatnot. You go downtown Atlanta during the day, depending on where you're at, is going to look some type of way. It's not going to look ratchet. When the night comes, it looks horrible. It looked like nothing but hyenas, warts, drug addicted fiends. It looks horrible.
And the fruity booties come out.
And the fruity booties. But it's, again, you see all the black people there. I see all the white people during the day. I see all the black people during the night.
Hey, this is like, I was just thinking that we like vampires, bro. We come out at night.
What do you call it? Double A had made a comment about the educators. And I got to say, the black educators, they were tremendous. They were great. It was the kids that were trash. They were absolutely leaders.
Well, you know what, Lionel? A lot of problem I see in schools with a lot of black students. I ain't going to say all of them, but the ones that apply, we know. What happens is they misbehave in class, right? And so when the teacher comes to the parent and be like, hey, this is how your child's acting every day in my class, the parents excuse that shit and put it back on the teacher and saying, oh, well, the teacher's doing this and the teacher's doing that. No, your kid's coming into school, disrupting, acting like a jerk off every fucking day. And we're not going to sit here and put this blame back on the teacher. But I think what the schools need, and we need these old black women as teachers again.
They drained from their young Pokishas. They got these young daughters that have already drained them.
Pokishas.
They got
The
all
real
these
problem is niggerism. That's the real problem. And that's the problem in all ghettos. That's the problem, niggerism, where the
That's the problem. I'm telling you.
That's what they got. So you can't ask the old grandmas to come back to be the teachers when they're drained by Pukisha and her little Glocktavius. Like, they gotta raise all these little boys or little girls, and it's like, while the mom get to go out and have her cake and eat it too, twerking on the car, twerking at the gas station,
Hey,
twerking in the office.
twerking at the red light. Y'all hear that song?
No.
I don't listen to that bullshit.
But I'm just saying, so they're drained. And then they're also being influenced by the young people. So now grandma want to go twerk at church. She want to go twerk at the bus station.
Hey, yo.
They're all been told how bad being a teacher is. They don't want to teach.
Yeah.
So now that becomes another problem. Definitely in the black community, because again, it's all about money. But at the same time, they're like, oh, well, the educators don't make money.
I got something for y'all.
Wait till I had this baby. You got 2 seconds on swinging first. Wait till I had this baby. He better fuck me better than he did it first. Wait till I had this baby. Bit a bow truck just to jump out. Got 3 cars to jump in, and these bitches looking jumped out. They was talking then, got them talking now. Only walking when I walk them down. Shots fired, target hoes. Look the tight like my sister hoe. Rap bitch, I like stripper hoes. Dance bitch on this stripper pole. Got 4 kids, but her body goes. Hood bitch, we the hood hoes. Wait till I had this baby. Just wait till I had this baby. Wait till I had this baby. Just wait till I had this baby. Wait till I had this baby. Just wait till I had this baby. Wait till I had this baby. Just wait till I had this baby. Wait till I had this baby. You got 2 seconds on swinging.
Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, who's promoting this fuckery? That's what I want to know. Like, yeah,
you are.
Because I'm not watching that shit. That is degeneracy at its fucking peak.
But guess who supports it is black folks who normally would call that stuff out. That's black culture. She's just doing her big one. She's in her bag.
Who's pushing that bullshit? Like, look, no, we're not pushing it, bro. I can sit here and tell you this 100%. When I used to listen to all that ratchet fuckery music and I would go to these concerts, bro, it wasn't us that was there in large numbers.
Bro. In today's world, where we can stream our own media, we push that shit. There's a reason why we talk about Black Twitter. Those things do carry a lot of these algorithms. Yeah, we can talk about the small hats, the magic people who.
No, I didn't even put a name on it. Let's not put a name.
I'm putting a name on it. I'm putting a name on it. But at the end of the day, we push it just as much as anybody else. That's not Sexy Red. I know it looked like her, but that's not her. That's just another chick. This is a whole nother chick. She ain't no big time producer. There's some black folks that put that shit together and put it out there.
Yo, when he says who's promoting this and he says us, I look at that as a parallel to the JP situation. That's all she really is. And that's one of the biggest complaints I kept having last year. Why y'all keep promoting this nigga? There's literally no value here.
Yeah, but I'm not promoting him, as you see.
Okay. It's not you literally.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is people like me are not promoting that shit. If anything, we look at it for the fucking shit show that it is. And I see a lot of variety, as I will put it, in his chat or watching him. The degeneracy put on display for everyone to see, not just black folks. Black folks ain't the only one watching this shit.
But this is going to get shared, though. This is going to get shared, and then it's going to hop up on someone's algorithm. And then one black dude is going to send it to the next one, or one black girl going to send it to the next one. Next thing you know, a good amount of us have seen this. And because we're clicking on it, supporting it, sharing it, all it does is just feed into it. Yeah. It don't even matter if other people are doing it, because they could just say, here, let's watch this. You think I'm about to sit here and subscribe to JP channel or share anything this dude does? No. If he pops up, it is what it is, but I'm damn sure not sharing it. Odds are I'm not going to stay to watch it because I'm not going to support it.
Yeah, I don't shout his out. The only person I see right now promoting and supporting fucking JP is John Galt. And like I said, I don't watch JP for hard hitting entertainment, for hard hitting.
But people do speak. That's the thing.
That's the point. Yes.
Like literally his whole relationship the other year, people were making that into basically the next Martin.
No, people watch that shit because they there for the fuckery.
But that doesn't, regardless, the argument.
That doesn't change.
Still support.
It's just like the Thorpes, man. And let's put that as a white perspective. We don't watch them because they saying some profound shit. We watch them for the shit show.
It's the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. It is the same thing. But I'm just.
Do you think the Thorpes in general represent white community?
I know they don't.
Okay.
But JP represents us.
No, he doesn't. No.
That's how the world gonna look, though. I'm not saying he does, but that's how they look at us. They look at most niggas like JP,
and that's just not the case.
That's why we gotta stop supporting it and show different. But the more we show different, the more we go right back to showing again the JPs.
Exactly. And the 70%, as B Brave says, are the folks who support this. That's why I keep saying. It's folks like me. I see these folks all the time. They can have advanced degrees, jobs in government, whatever, and they support the fuckery because it gives them some sort of connection back to black culture when they just need to let the shit go. That's it.
Actually,
CT, go ahead.
He actually made a good point. It's not completely true, but if you're going to look at, JP, who got custody of his kids, or look at Universal, who essentially has his 3 kids, who you think they're going to go and look to? They're going to look at JP.
Correct.
They're not going to look at the nigga that got the degrees, who's helping people, who's literally out here trying to be father of the year and the most positive and upbringing light while also trying to mentor other people. They're going to look at Pookie.
I think I'd much rather watch Universal with his kids than JP.
But a lot of people would rather watch JP than Universal.
They're there for the shit show. I don't get what y'all don't understand about it.
We do understand that.
They're waiting for the crash house. They're waiting for JP to go off on somebody, do his crazy things. That's what they're there for.
We understand. We understand it. All right. Any final thoughts or comments? I'm gonna be wrapping this one up. Any thoughts?
I'll just say this turned out better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to have a heated discussion. And like I said, don't get it twisted. I don't hate anybody on this internet because I don't know none of you sons of bitches personally. I just hate some of the talking points. And I feel like here's the thing with the black community. You can't win with the YNs, and we damn sure can't win with niggas like John Galt. Because look here, at the end of the day, he could be doing a lot of things positive, and the shit that he's doing right now is not positive.
Why do you think it's not?
It's not positive because it's only you could be, you know, putting your efforts into being like, okay, well, here's what I'm trying to do to make things better in my community, but you're going around harassing police officers while they trying to do work. Oh, did you see? Oh, it was 3 of them niggas, you know, and doing, you know, I hope you get arrested doing stupid shit like that, because you can tell these police officers are visibly fucking sick of him when he comes around, drunk and high. Look at him do. Oh, I'm gonna see them 3 niggas over there. Yeah, stupid shit like that. Like, you could be doing a lot more for the community. And what I see with all this, as Stanley would call it, the anti-black hate, is nobody ever offers a solution. It's just, oh, the niggas are doing this, the niggas are doing that. I didn't see no niggas in Baltimore when that ship crashed into that bridge. But you know, black folks are tearing up the the America. Yeah, right. That yeah. There wasn't no niggas with AKs on that ship that crashed into that bridge in Baltimore. You know, let's be real. These white people are hypocrites. You know, they're sitting out here crying about a black boogeyman that doesn't exist, bro. Your own government doesn't like you. Let's jump on some real shit. You said blacks suck at shooting. They do shoot up some shit. But yeah, that was Imperius talking about blacks suck at shooting.
We do. We don't know how to aim. That's why all these people get hit for no reason.
Oh, when you turn the gun sideways or you put a switch in the motherfucker that you can't control, you know, of course you're gonna shoot up the damn place.
Yeah, niggas need to just put the guns away at this point. Yeah, it's just pointless. But all right, let's see. We're gonna wrap it up. Lionel, did you have any final thoughts?
Oh, my solution is Thanos needs to snap. That's the biggest thing. That or a whole meteor needs to hit us because we cook. I don't see hope.
There's no hope, man. And even with wanting to do more positives, niggas don't want to be more positive. The solutions are already here. This is not rocket science. The solution is already here.
Niggas don't want to be more positive.
Oh, you can do everything. You can almost be anything you want, and they choose to be who they are. It is what it is.
Your buddy wants you to let him up.
Nah, he can fuck off today.
But this was good, Universal. I appreciate you letting me up.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming up, gentlemen. All right, I'm gonna close it out. I'm gonna bring you guys down. Oh, Imperius, I will let you up, man. You know, I don't got really smoke for you, but you know, you want to come up here being erratic and crazy and talk about my friends and shit. I don't have the energy today. Salute to the queen. Salute to the queen. Protect it low at all costs, and I'm sure that's gonna make him go crazy. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, we got a lot of issues, black folks, and yeah, there's a lot of attention on us and around us for various different reasons. And I've come to the conclusion that black people don't want to change who they are, how they are. I don't think so. Because if we did, we would see an effort to do so. But what we actually see is supporting the bullshit. And that's unfortunate. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. We need more dogs, man. We need more dogs because we ain't got them.
Trying to get our 2 boys ready to carry them to golf tournament for practice, right? 12 cats live across the road.
Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke. So you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, what are you doing in here, little kitty cat? By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, what's going on? I said, there's a cat in the house. Cat in the house? I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house. So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
You're damn right. We need more dogs. Universal Jones, we out.
Universal! Jones.
Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd,